ACTC, is it a good setup? Let's look. Made a big, nice linear move, up almost 50% in a couple of weeks, and now it's been digesting the move. It's very orderly and controlled. Yes, it's a good setup. And this stock has proven previously it can run. Even though the ADR is slightly below 5, this thing can go, because it, you know, previously this thing was up 175% in a couple of weeks. So that's always a good sign when you know, when a stock has made a big move previously. Then you know it can run. Versus all the other random stocks out there. You wanna be in the fastest ones, not the losers. Now AFRM is one of these bottom flag setups. Not the most explosive one, but it's made a nice move off the lows. About 40% in a few weeks. Pulled back a little bit, found support on the 10-day, and now it's kind of trying to break this flag. Not really a great flag. I would have preferred a few more days of sideways and tightness, and the 20-day to catch up. But over the past few weeks, these setups have worked pretty well. Over the past 2 weeks or so. Oh yeah, CLOV. Oh man, I hope this thing closes weak, and then we get a gap down on Monday, like 12 or even sub 12. Could have a decent mean reversion trade. Setting up. Futu is setting up too. I think it's gonna make a big move. It's so coiled. Oh my god, looks great on the weekly, on the daily. Needs a few more days. It's gonna make a big move. Wow, once it breaks out of this base, it's gonna double. I have no doubt in my mind. I don't know. AMPY looks very choppy. I don't know if it's a good setup. I don't think it's a great setup. DDD. Yeah, it is flagging nicely. It's actually a pretty decent. Yeah, it's building a decent flag. Hopefully a couple more days. Yeah, Raccoon had a great setup here. That's why I was asking if he was long from here. That's a 5-star. I mean, this is like, this is 5-star. You can't get better than that. Looks similar to LEDs. Very similar to LEDs. Right? Very similar. These are 5-star setups. You can hone in on those. Especially on these micro small cap names. They can double, triple in a short amount of time. Even quadruple. You know, you're gonna get to your first million, you know, very quickly. Uxin. Yeah, down here it was a very good setup here. May 18th. Since then it hasn't had any setups. You still in it? That's great. Yeah, it's been surfing the 10-day the whole way. This is why you sell partial with the 3 to 5 days, and then you trail the rest with the 10-day. Yeah, some of these are easier to see on the 1-hour chart, like especially this IHT that had initial breakout but failed, but it did have another breakout here in the low 9s. You couldn't really see it on the daily, but you clearly saw it on the 60-minute. But LEDs and the other ones, they were very clear on the daily chart. How can you say LEDs was not obvious on the daily chart? I don't know what you are smoking, but this was super obvious. You don't need intraday charts to find LEDs, or this other one, MOXC. You don't need intraday charts. Sometimes they can be useful though. EOLS. I mean, I guess it looks decent. It's probably too late to buy it now. It's already gone, but yeah, it's decent. It made a nice move, 40%, surfed the 10-day, tightened up, and now it's kind of trying to go again. I don't know. It's not super explosive, but I mean, it can go, I guess. Yeah, Tesla, there's a trade coming, but unsure at what direction yet. It hasn't followed the strength of the other ones, the NIO, LI, XBEV, etc. These things have all gone up like 50% in the past 2-3 weeks. 50, 70% even. 80%. And NIO 40%. And Tesla hasn't rallied at all. So my bet is gonna take a leg lower. That's my bet. Yeah, the biggest drawdowns always happen after great runs. And that's how it should be. If you don't have a drawdown, means you're taking no risk, means you're making no money. Like if you have a set of rules and you double your account and your drawdowns double in size, that's a feature, not a bug. That's how it should be. Oh my god, NOVN. What if it actually goes to 25 today? I hope some of you got it. For me it was just too illiquid, but this was like perfect also. And also look at what it did. It gapped above this moving average. So many people, they call out these EPs, they gap up, hit some declining moving average, and then they fail. This is very important. It actually gapped over that moving average, tested it, held it, and took out opening range highs. And you had this enormous volume out of the gate. By the time the opening range highs triggered, this thing had already traded like, more than the average daily volume. 10 times the average daily volume. Neglected stock. I don't know anything about the news. Is it significant? Is it not? Is it just, clueless Wall Street bet guys buying it? I have no idea, but, the volume tells the story. Doesn't even, mean anything if the news are significant. But if it gaps up, volume is big and takes out opening range highs, you better pay attention. And it's a low float. I don't know where you got my historical performance from, but if you paid attention, my longest drawdown was in 2015. It lasted 9 months. I have drawdowns that last 3 to 6 months every single year. It's a feature, not a bug. On regular breakouts, I don't wait for volume. If it breaks, you buy it. And if it has enough average daily volume, you don't have to worry about volume. On EPs, volume is key. You want to see big volume, either in pre-market, or if it doesn't have a lot of volume pre-market, just in the first minute or, the first few minutes after open. Yeah, I know. I paid attention to what Livermore talks a lot about this. When people ask him for stock advice, he never gives them advice. It's the same thing we see on the stream all the time. People just want handouts. They don't want, they just want to make a quick buck. And even if you give them some good stock advice, they still won't be any wiser. They don't know when to sell. I just, when people ask me about the market, I just say, buy index funds and do it for the rest of your life. And you're going to outperform 99% of Wall Street over the long term. What more are Microsoft? Yeah, Microsoft has been strong for a while. Look at the move. What a move. Bull market, baby. And imagine if you had listened to all these stupid bear accounts and all these stupid bears on CNBC calling for the next big crash and end of the world and blah blah blah. And look at how many stocks have made these types of moves. Look at this, right? So many useless people. There's so many useless people out there. There really are. And bearish arguments always sound smarter too. Like the bullish argument is always this. Look, shit is gonna happen. It always happened. There's always gonna be shit in, along the way. But in the long term, it's just gonna be fine. It doesn't sound as smart as, putting up a randomly cherry-picked chart of the US, I don't know, the debt stuff. And yet none of the bears predicted the COVID crash. They've been predicting all types of crashes, but when we finally get a crash, they miss it. What a bunch of useless idiots. Well, I have no problem trading biotech stocks. It's just biotechs have been a kind of a dead sector over the past few years. I mean, between 2010 2015, biotechs were really hot, and they're, just look at the biotech indices. I mean, they made a big bit of a move last year, like XBI and IBB, which is a larger cap. But there were so many other opportunities, so I didn't trade a lot of biotech stocks anyways. Except for some of these vaccine names that went crazy. But there just hasn't been a lot of opportunity in the biotech sector. If you look at some of the biotech stocks, like even if you look at the larger cap like BIIB, made a huge move from 2010 to 2015. And since then, nothing. Gilead, same thing. Big move from 2012 to 2015. Since then, nothing. Like I said before, successful trading, it's more about, cutting away all the useless things you ever learned and heard. Because most of it most of the things people learn about the financial markets useless, totally useless. If you can unlearn those things, you're on the right path. And the more useless things you can unlearn, you can become incredibly wealthy. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. You listen to these guys, Druckenmiller, David Tepper, Paul Tudor Jones, and they almost never use any of these stupid, phrases. And these guys are legit. They have great track records of long term. They're filthy rich. So who do you want to emulate your trading after? Some random schmuck on social media who probably trades a $500 account, uses all these fancy words, and maybe also selling a service, or these legit people. Exactly, you can't sell simple things. People want complexity, because people many times don't believe that simple is the best answer. And you see it, like I read about people in different sectors and business, and it's really the same thing over and over again. Man, I want to catch some like guys, like the only reason I still trade is because trades like AMC and BB last week, when you catch something that goes up like 90% after your entry. Now I had tiny size, I'm still kicking for myself for not adding when I should have. I mean, those are the trades you live for. And BB went up like 54% after entry. I mean, those are the trades I live for. That's the only reason I still trade. Otherwise, I would have put all my money in some kind of a balanced portfolio and just, done something else with my life. I want the big ones. The big winners. So satisfying. It's like a treasure hunt. It's just such a fun feeling when you catch something, and especially if you catch something on a big size. Man, there's so many snake oil salesmen out there, man. Oh, and people don't know better. They want hand holding, and it's hard. If you're a beginner, it's super hard to know who's legit and who's not. I had that problem a long time. And then I realized, I followed a lot of people, and many people just went quiet after a while because they blew up. And I remember once there was this guy, I really thought he was a big time trader because he had some really great trade ideas. And then he talked about this, his specific trade. He had 50 shares or something, or 500 shares. And I was in the same trade with 50,000 shares. I'm like, I'm a fucking schmuck, and this guy is trading 100th of my size. I've unfollowed him. I literally went to Twitter and unfollowed him right there and then. What's Beely doing? This Beely looks really good on a weekly. It needs to break this 115 area. Hopefully it can go sideways a few more days. It's been built. This is the one. This is the one that I was long a couple of weeks ago from this little bottom flag. It hit the 100 day and got rejected, stopped me out. And honestly, I didn't follow the sell rules. The sell rules, my stop should have been the lows of this day, right? The lows of entry day. It never hit that. I sold it on this day here. So I should kind of still be in it, but, my bad. Square, yeah, Square is also kind of a bottom type of a flag. I like it how it undercut the 200 day, built higher lows, bounced a little bit, faded a little bit, and then found support on the 200 day again. It's such a clean, on the daily it doesn't look like much, but on the weekly, if it starts breaking that 230 area, maybe 229, it probably needs to go sideways little bit more. And Roku, I think, kind of looks similar. Looks great on a weekly. I've been, a lot of these former leaders, like the software tech stocks, internet stocks, they look like this. They kind of choppy on the daily, but you look at the weekly and they just 1 or 2 weeks away from, doubling. You can have a little bit of margin of error. You can fuck things up. I fuck things up all the time. And I've still had really good returns over the years. That's the great thing about having a big edge. If you have no margin of error in your trading, it means your edge is too small. That's why it's so important to really, focus on the stocks that can make big moves, because you have such bigger margin of error. That's why, like ADR, it's a guy. Unfortunately he's deceased now, but he used to be in Investors Live Chat. He was Muddy, is his name. Like, that's where I got this concept from. He's like, he was a day trader. He only focused on his high ADR stocks and stuff like former runners. And now sometimes low ADR stocks can make big moves. An example would be maybe like DFS, for example, right? It's been a low ADR stock for the past like year now, or yeah. It's been sub 3 ADR or sub 4 ADR for the past 7-8 months, but it's still, doubled. But it's not really a type of stock you want to trade. And yesterday, you want, this is the type of stock you want to be in. If you have a less than $1 million account, this is the type of stock you want to trade. Something can double, triple in a few days. This is the type of stock you want to trade, right? This is the type of stock that you want to trade. A former runner, something that has made a big move previously. High ADR, right? BB2. High ADR. Former runner. This is where the money is. Not trading something like, and like yesterday I was talking with a guy, he was like really bullish on now, and I'm like, why trade this thing? This is not a trading stock. He was convinced it's gonna 550 plus. Yeah, absolutely. I agree. This company is probably gonna double, triple over the next few years. It's a great business. But the stock is shit. This is a horrible trading stock. Horrible. It's all over the place. Look how choppy this thing is. ADR 2. It's mostly a waste of time. There's many ways you can trade. Many different types of setups. Well, actually, there's not that many different types of setups. There's only like a few types of setups. Range breaks, either upside, downside, mean reversion. There's very few basic types of setups. Even though all people have different types of names for them. I'm trying to think of, like dip buying. Like something like this, a setup like this. It could, in this case, it was also kind of a mean reversion setup. But buying a dip in an uptrend, shorting, buying parabolics or overextensions, buying or shorting range expansions, or buying or selling in a channel. Like those are the types of trades you can do. You can do them on a daily, intraday, weekly. Like day trade, swing trade. And then you also have like the algo market maker type of trading. You sit on a bid and ask and trade the spreads and stuff like that. But that's an algo game. That you can't do that as a human anymore. It's too fast. All those people who did it, they're out of business. Yeah, high tide flags. If there was one setup I would trade, it would be high tide flags. Or maybe EP. I don't know yet. I mostly focus on earnings related EPs. I kind of ignore the biotech and stuff like that. Now for day traders, like there could be a huge bounce coming. Like this thing could easily bounce 50%. So these things create a lot of opportunity for day traders. And it's very liquid too if you have a smaller account.